Hallelujah. We're going to continue in the portion, all praises be to the party of Isaac and Jacob. It's now 10 after 4, Salakia. I am 10 minutes behind time. I am. All right, so we're going to pick it up with Genesis, the 20th. We're about to enter the 21st chapter, right? The 21st chapter. Genesis 21 and 1.
The book of Genesis, chapter 21, verse 1. And the Most High visited Sarah as he had said, and the Most High did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which the Most High had spoken to him.
Now, this is a very important scripture right here, because this scripture eliminates what people say about the birth of our other one, or the conception of our other one, Hamashiach Yahushua. Because the same instance that happened with Mary happened with Sarah first, where the spirit came onto her and she conceived, right? But no one said, oh, right, Abraham never laid with Sarah. Okay. So the understanding is the spirit does not put the baby in your womb. It gives you the ability to become pregnant. All right. But you still need your husband to become pregnant. Everybody understand that? Right. So as this reads, it never says that Abraham lays with Sarah. Just like it doesn't say that Joseph laid with Mary. But that understanding is pushed throughout the world that Christ was born without natural cause, or the unnatural cause, supernatural way, right? Or conceived a supernatural way, I should say, right? But that is a popular misconception in Scripture, right? And this is one of the verses used when you're putting precept to precept and getting understanding on so-called the Immaculate Conception. Okay, read that again.
The book of Genesis, chapter 21, verse 1. And the Most High visited Sarah as he had said, and the Most High did unto Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which the Most High had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old.
Right. So according to the law, he was circumcised on the 8th day. All right. The foreskin was cut. This circumcision was first established with Abraham. Okay. Not saying nobody was circumcised before that, but it was established via the word of the Most High through Abraham. That's the covenant that the Most High made with Abraham. So as males, we are to be circumcised, right? Initially the 8th day, but if you were not circumcised on the 8th day, you can still be circumcised. Everybody understand that? But Abraham himself wasn't circumcised till he was what? What was his age when he was circumcised? It was 99 when he circumcised. So he was quite old. None of us are 99, so we're not too old to be circumcised. Everybody understand that? All right. But of course, today you go to right channels. You go through the hospital or the doctor. You know, don't try to circumcise yourself, right? Don't try nothing. Don't take no bargain, no deal. Go to the doctor. Go to the hospital. Make sure that it's something done that's, sanitary and done the right way by a licensed physician. All right. Let's read on.
as the Most High commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. Verse 6. And Sarah said, the Most High have made me laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me.
Right.
And she said, who would have said unto Abraham that Sarah should have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age.
Right. So he said, who would ever could see this? By man's determination and what is common, this is a very uncommon circumstance. This is something where Most High intervened to make Sarah conceive by her husband Abraham. All right, read.
Verse 8. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned.
Right. So what does it mean that he was weaned? Shalamah, yeah? Yeah. What does that signify that he was weaned? That he was what? No longer. But when do you wean the child? When do you decide the child is weaned? What age? 5 years old? Dang. Right? 12. You said 12? We need to have a separate council on that matter. What? Right? Those of you that have children, when did you wean your children? 6 months is way too short. Go ahead. What you say, sis? How old? How many months? How many? I didn't hear. A year. 3 months? No. I hear 3 months. 3 years? Who said 3 years? It's around that time. It's around 2-3 years that a child is weaned. All right? I don't know. Y'all see 6 months, 3 months. Y'all just like, get off me. Right? y'all wilding out right now. I gotta go take y'all way back in the day when their children were toddlers. They weaned them when they start walking. All right, you're done, right? Or a little bit past that, right? I mean, that would be convenient, but sometimes they develop teeth early. You know what I mean? And they're still on the breast with teeth, right? But it's around 2 years old, right? That they wean, in these times, the child is to be weaned. So when he was of age to be weaned, he made a feast because it's like a second stage for the child. They can now eat solids, which they've been can eat solids, but they no longer need the breast milk, I should say. All right, let's read.
The book of Genesis, chapter 21, verse 8. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah saw that the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking.
Right.
Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even Isaac.
That's how she said it? Okay. I was just checking. But she probably did say it like that because the son he was mocking the new son that was born, saying, belittling that new son, right? And she wasn't going to have this, Sarah. You're not going to do this, right? So he was like, cast out this bondwoman and her son, right? Read on.
And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight, right? Because of his son.
Right. So why? It was very grievous to Abraham to hear her say that. Why? He didn't want to break up his family, right? Right. So he had Hagar and his son. She the one that gave Hagar to him to wife, right? So he looking at her like, why are you saying cast out the woman now that you have a child? But she was actually in the spirit when she said that. All right, let's read on.
And the Most High said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because
Right.
of the lad,
Come on.
and because of thy bondwoman,
Mhm.
and all that Sarah hath said unto thee. Hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
Right. So the Most High had to intervene to Abraham and say, no, listen to what Sarah's telling you. Go ahead, cast her and that son out of it. Right? Because I'm not calling that seed. I'm calling this seed. This is a seed that I'm going to be putting the spirit on. All right, read on.
And also of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed.
Right. He said, I'm gonna make him a nation. He's gonna be blessed, but he's not chosen. Right. So you need to cast him out. You need to go elsewhere. Read on.
And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and took bread and a bottle of water, and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder, and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba.
Right.
And the water was spent in the bottle. And she cast the child under one of the shrubs.
Right.
And she went and sat her down under against him a good way off, as it were a bow shot.
All right, bow. As long as an arrow can fly out of a bow, that's how far she walked away from her son. Right. Now her son is not a baby. Right. How old is her son about this time? By how old is he? He's about 12 years old. Right. 13 years old. Right. So he's not a baby, but they're out in the wilderness. They're hungry. They're without water. She's starting to lose faith and say, I'm cast to die. Right? Read on.
For she said, let me not see the death of the child. And she sat over against him and lifted up her voice and wept. And the Most High heard the voice of the lad. And the angel of the Most High called to Hagar out of heaven and said unto her,
So what? They both wept, but who the Most High heard? Why did the Most High hear the voice of the son and not the voice of the mother? Because he's the seed of Abraham, right? He's even though he's not chosen, he's still seed of Abraham, right? So when he's speaking to the Most High, he has more respect unto him, more respect unto the seed of Abraham than Hagar. What was Hagar from again? Egyptian woman, right? Right. So now, was this against the commandments to cast this woman out? Why not? No, that's not it. Why was it against? Because she was a bondwoman. Exactly. So if a woman is a bondwoman, and you marry unto a bondwoman, she can be cast out. Okay. You can send her out with her things. All right. Matter of fact, let's get the law on that. Let's see. I believe that's in same Exodus 22, should be. No, Exodus 21:14. Oh, Deuteronomy. Oh, I'm in Exodus. Okay. I say, no, that's adultery. It kind of mentions it in Exodus 20, but it's right here. It's when you read, let's read Exodus 21. You could start with verse
7.
yeah, verse 7. And then let me see what you got in Deuteronomy.
Yeah, I think it's verse 7.
What's Deuteronomy? Where is it?
We're gonna start with Exodus.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, 21, 13, and 14. All right. Let's start with Exodus first.
The book of Exodus, chapter 21, verse 7.
Mm-hmm.
And if a man sell his daughter
Right.
to be a maidservant,
To be a what?
to be a
To
maidservant,
be a woman's servant. Read on. Bondwoman. Read.
she shall not go out as the man's servants do.
Right.
If she please not her master,
If she please not what?
if she please not her master,
So now when you're sold to be a servant, you now have to please your master, whoever is over you. But if the woman does not please her master, right? Read on.
who have betrothed her to be to himself,
Right? Betrothed means what? Right? Promise in to be what? A wife, married, right? Read.
then shall he let her be redeemed,
Right?
to sell her unto a strange nation. He shall have no power,
Right?
seeing he hath dealt deceitfully with her.
Right. Meaning that what? He laid with her, right? But he can't sell her because he laid with her, right? Read on.
And if he have betrothed her unto his son,
Mm-hmm.
he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters.
Right?
If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish.
Right. So if the son, if he says, all right, well, I'll give it to my son, right? And he take it a wife, but his son gets another wife, he still got to take care of her, right? But if he says, say if he can't, read on,
And if he
or doesn't
do,
want to, I don't know, either one. Read on. Go ahead.
verse 11, and if he do not these three unto her,
Right. If he doesn't maintain her food,
yeah,
her raiment, and her duty of marriage, read on.
then shall she go out free without money.
Then she can go out free without money, right? Meaning that she can leave, right? She can be put out. Why? Because she was started out as a what? A bondwoman. Okay. So because she's a bondwoman, even though they were in a marriage, she can leave, or she can be put out, I should say, right? And and go, and is not held. In marriage, we cannot do that. In marriage, marriage will last how long?
Forever.
Till death, right? The way it says forever, till death, right? Till the man dies, right? Right. That's how long a woman is bound to her husband till he dies. So long as he's alive, you're bound. So that's the difference. If you're a servant woman, a bond woman is not like that, right? You can be put away. In other words. All right. Now give me Deuteronomy 21 and 13.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21, verse 13. And she shall put the remnant of her captivity from off her,
Right.
and shall remain in thy house,
Uh-huh.
and be well her father and her mother.
Right. So this is a time of war when we had the Most High sanctioned us to have wives of other nations during that time. All right, because we were out of our land and away from our people. We're in another land with another people with another set of women. So we had no way of being with our own women. So he gave us, through mercy, allowed us to be with the other nations' women, right? That we conquered. Read on.
And be well her father and her mother a full month.
Right.
And after that, thou shalt go in unto her, and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife.
Right. So you will deal with her as a wife, and you'll be a husband unto her. Read on.
And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her,
Right.
then thou shalt let her go whither she will go. Then shall they let her go whither she will.
Right.
But thou shalt not sell her at all for money.
Right. Same situation. You cannot sell her, right, for money. Right. You cannot prostitute a woman. right? You can just let her go, right? And whatever befalls her, befalls her. So these are the conditions in which a woman could just be sent away, or they can leave when they're either a servant woman or another woman of a captive woman, servant or captive that you end up marrying. All right, read.
Thou shalt not make merchandise of her,
Right,
because thou hast humbled her.
because you lay with her, so you can't make merchandise of her. You can't sell her. If you didn't lay with her, you can sell her to be a servant to someone else. Right? People sell servants, but because you lay with her, you can no longer sell her. All right, everybody, it makes sense. All right, so you can no longer sell her because you lay with her. All right, because now you're going into something totally different. Right now now you pimping. Right, and the Most High is not about pimping. Right, that's not righteous. Right, not anybody pimping anybody. Not children, not our daughters of Zion or the other nations. Okay, we cannot sell women for sexual favors, or the case may be. All right, so let's go back. So now we understand why he was able to send away Hagar and not be in violation of the law, statutes, and commandments, because she was a servant woman of another nation. Okay, so that's why she was able to be sent away. Everybody understand that? All right. Let's read.
Verse 18. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in thy hand, for I will make him a great nation. And the Most High opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water.
Mhm.
And she went and filled the bottle with water, and gave the lad drink. And the Most High was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer.
Came a what?
An archer.
Right. So he was good with the bow and arrow, killing from afar. Right. Became an archer. Now think about this son here. Right. Read on.
And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt.
Right. So he got a wife out of the land of Egypt. So this is the beginning of what's his son? Who's his son? Ishmael. Who's Ishmael today? Right, the Arab. Right. So he said he was an archer. The scriptures talk about he was a wild man. All these things point to how he is to this day. All right. How he is to this day. You know what I mean? The modern day bow and arrow is a gun. Right. That's the modern day bow and arrow. Right. That's how you can shoot somebody from afar, or a missile or something, right? Something that you can shoot from afar, right? So they still shooting from far, right? So this is all part of the root of them as a nation, okay? The root of them as a nation. All right, let's read.
And it came to pass at that time that Abimelech and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, spake unto Abraham, saying, The Most High is with thee in all that thou doest. Now therefore swear unto me here by the Most High, that thou wilt not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto thee, thou shalt do unto me, and to the land wherein thou hast sojourned. Verse 24. And Abraham said, I will swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water, which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. And Abimelech said, I wot not who have done this thing, neither didst thou tell me, neither yet heard I of it, but today.
Right. So Abimelech was not aware that his servants went off and took Abraham's well. Okay. So he wasn't aware of that situation. So Abraham went to see him about it, and he's going to be reproved, meaning that show him that this thing was wrong. All right, read on.
Verse 27. And Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them unto Abimelech, and both of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, What mean these 7 ewe lambs which thou hast set by themselves? And he said, For these 7 ewe lambs shalt thou take of my hand, that they may be a witness unto me that I have digged this well. Wherefore he called that place Beersheba,
Mm-hmm.
because there they swore both of
Got the
them.
map. Right.
Yes, I think it's on that. Yes, right there.
Right. So Beersheba to this day is called Beersheba. All right. Um, so it's significant of when this well was dug by our by Father Abraham. All right. So it's a very significant place. It still carries the same name from biblical times. Right. Read on.
Wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because there they swore both of them.
Right.
Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech rose up, and Phicol, the chief captain of his host, and they returned into the land of the Philistines.
Mm-hmm.
And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba,
Mm-hmm.
and called there on the name of Yahweh, the everlasting power. And Abraham sojourned in the Philistines' land many days.
Right. So that was in the Philistines' land. All right. Read on.
The book of Genesis, chapter 22, verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that the Most High did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, Behold, here am I. And he said, Take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest,
Mm-hmm.
and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of.
Right. So the Most High straight tells Abraham to take this son and offer him as an offering on the altar. All right. So he gets straight instruction from the Most High. Right. Thy only son, the son that thou lovest. Right. Read on.
Verse 3. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and saddled his donkey, and took two of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up, and went unto the place of which the Most High has told him.
Well,
Then on the third day, Abraham lifted up his eyes, and saw the place afar off.
right.
And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the donkeys, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you.
Mm-hmm.
And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand, and a knife, and they went both of them together.
Mm-hmm.
And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here am I, my son. And he said, Behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering?
Right. So the son is realizing something's missing. And so we got the fire, we got the wood, you got the knife. What we sacrificing? Right. So he don't know what's about to go down. Right. That his life was in jeopardy at this point. Right. But you got to understand that Abraham, this is his only son that he loveth. So he didn't want to do this thing. But his obedience drove him to bring his son to this point and to possibly slay his son upon the mountain. All right, read.
And Abraham said, My son, the Most High will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering.
All right.
So they went both of them together, and they came to the place which the Most High had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood.
Right.
And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son.
Right.
And the angel of the Most High called unto him out of heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, Here am I. And he said, Lay not thy hand upon the lad,
Right.
neither do thou anything unto him. For now I know that thou fearest the Most High.
Right. He said, Now I'm convinced that thou fearest the Most High. So sometimes the Most High will put you in a position to suffer something that you don't want to suffer. Right. Take a loss that you don't want to take and see how far you're going to go. Right. The Most High, he tells us in the Ten Commandments that he's a jealous power. Right. So he requires, he will test you and require your whole heart. So if it's something you're not willing to give to the Most High, that's the one thing that he's going to want from you. He's going to require that of you. Right. So we have to you know, prepare ourselves that anything we can do it out in the sight of the Most High. Everybody understand that? That we put the Most High before everything and anything that we have, right? Therefore, the Most High doesn't use the things, but we make it into a God then if we put it before the Most High. Also, when you read this story, you have to understand that this is a shadow of something to come, right? The Father, crucifying his son or sacrificing his son, right? This is a foreshadowing of Yahushua being sacrificed by the Most High, right? His son, his only begotten son, right? So it's the same situation happening just to let us know this is how it's going to come about. It's a shadow of something to come. But the blessing comes from the fulfillment of it, okay? The blessing will come from the fulfillment when Yahushua is sacrificed, right? But right here, this faith spoke volumes for Abraham. And for a lot of us, your faith is what's going to speak for you, right? Some of us have traveled, have moved, do many things, right? In the name of righteousness. Continue to move and not be afraid, right? Not to fear, because the Most High is with you. He didn't fear. He said the Most High will provide a sacrifice, right? If it's either going to be a lamb or it's going to be you, but the Most High is going to provide a sacrifice, right? His faith gave him the ability to grab that knife and go up that mountain. Okay, read on.
Seeing thou hast not withheld thy son, thy only son, from me.
Right.
And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. Mm-hmm. And Abraham went and took the ram, offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son. Mm-hmm. And Abraham called the name of that place Yahweh Jireh.
Right.
As there's Jireh, right?
Yeah, Yahweh Jireh.
Yahweh Jireh. As it is said to this day, in the mount of the Most High it shall be seen. And the angel of the Most High called unto Abraham out of heaven the second time, and said, By myself have I sworn, saith the Most High, for because thou hast done this thing, and hast withheld thy son, hast not withheld thy son, thy only son, that in blessing I will bless thee, and in multiplying I will multiply thy seed as the stars of the heaven, and as the sand which is upon the seashore, and thy seed shall possess the gate of his enemies, mm-hmm. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because thou hast obeyed my voice.
Right.
So Abraham returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham dwelt at Beersheba.
Right. So that's when Abraham locked it in for all of us, man. His faith, he says, listen, because of your faith, your seed is going to be what? Multiply and be blessed. Right? So Abraham locked it in for all the children of Israel. Okay, so we look to Father Abraham as one that showed himself faithful to the Most High, that we all benefit from Abraham's faith. All right, read on.
So Abraham returned unto his young men, and they rose up and went together to Beersheba. Mm-hmm. And Abraham dwelt at Beersheba. And it came to pass after these things that it was told Abraham, saying, Behold, Milcah, she hath also borne children unto thy brother Nahor. Huz his firstborn, and Boaz his brother, and Kemuel the father of Rm, and Kesed, and Hazo, and Phildash, and Jidlap, and Bethuel, and Bethuel begat Rebekah. Okay. And Bethuel begat Rebekah. These 8 Milcah did bear to Nahor, right. Abraham's brother.
Right.
And his concubine, whose name was Remah, she bare also Teba, and Gaham, and Tahash, and Ma'akah.
Right. So no, that's it on that. So who bare these children? right? The children unto thy brother Nahor. Nahor, Abraham's brother, bared all these children. His wives and his concubine bared his children, right? So he had a it's good to keep these names in remembrance because these names come back on as we're going further into the history to know people's lineage, right? Where they come from. But this is letting you know where Rebecca is coming from. Because later on, Rebecca becomes what? The wife of Isaac. So to show that the family relation, the connection, right? So this the reason why you're getting this lineage is to learn where Rebecca is coming from. Right. Later on, we're going to see that Rebecca ends up being Isaac's wife. But that ends the portion for this talk, for this Shabbat day. Let's give the Most High a hand. Hallelujah. A lot of wisdom, knowledge, understanding coming out. We pray the Most High to continue to elevate our knowledge in His way, in His word, and in faith. Faith is the power that gets us to complete any work. To complete a work, it takes faith. All right? It takes you to see it being where it's going to be before it's there. So walk in faith throughout this week. Continue to bless the Most High. At this point, we're going to set up the prayers and the praise unto the Most High. All right, so any anything else? No other announcements or anything? I don't think so. We went through everything pretty good. All right, so with that, I would say, Imagine Wapanya Yerushalayim, stand and face Jerusalem. Hallelujah! Hallelujah! Who's the power? Who's the power? By Hashem? By Hashem? Kurash, kurash, kurash. Kurash, kurash, kurash. Holy, holy, holy is the name of Yahweh. Yahweh. Holy, holy, holy is the name. Hamashiach. Yahushai. From Abanawa Yahweh. From Abanawa Yahweh. From Hamashiach Yahushai. From Hamashiach Yahushai. From Yasharallah. From Yasharallah. Barakatah Yahweh. Bahashem. Hamashiach. Yahushai. Ahawa'ah. B'thalanoah. HaShabbat. Bashalom. Barukushah. Shemai. Zaparayim. Barak. Rawapah. Wakazak. Ramagan. Rashma'el. Akim. Ra. Akwathim. Barukushah. Yahweh. Bahashem. Hamashiach. Yahushai. Yahak. Shaitan. Yahak. Shaitan. Yahak. Ko. Rai. Rahayim. Yahak. Ko. Rai. Rahayim. Barukushah. 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 All praises be to the power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, for his mercy truly endured forever. We thank thee, Yahweh, for giving us this Shabbat day in peace. We thank you, Yahweh, for every soul that's in this room. We ask you, Yahweh, to continue to guide us in thy righteousness in these last days. Continue to build in us the spirit that we must have to obtain the kingdom of heaven, to obtain the salvation that we most earnestly desire. Continue to be merciful upon us, O Yahweh. Continue to forgive us for our sins and our transgressions. Hold not our iniquity against us, and blot out all our evil deeds, that we might be presented in the white raiment, as is written in the Holy Scriptures, prepared for the coming of a Mashiach Yahushua and the reestablishment of our kingdom upon the earth. Heavenly Father, be merciful upon thy children in these last days. And remember the covenant that was made with Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaquah. For we are to be thy people, and thou art to be our power, blessing us and and restoring us to our rightful position on this earth. All this we ask in the name of thy Son, Hamashiach Yahushua. Let all that have breath praise Yahweh. Let all that have breath praise Yahweh. Let all that have breath praise Yahweh. Bahashem Hamashiach Yahushua. The water them yard. Amen. Get him outside hand. Hallelujah. There's no power like Yahweh, great King of the universe, always doing